This is the best of VOCM Open Line.
Good morning and welcome to Open Line, the midweek or hump day version of the program, if you will, for this Wednesday, August the 12th. My name is Brian Callahan, of course, here along with the producer of the program, David Williams, who does all of the Omen's work behind the scenes, and will be taking your calls, get you in the queue and on the air for a chat on any topic that you see fit that's on your mind today. And the numbers to call in the St. John's metro area, 709-273-5211, or long distance, 1-888-590-8626, or VOCM. And our email address, of course, is openline@vocm.com. And we take them all, we read them all, and we respond to them all in due course as quickly as we can turn it around and give some thoughtful, not just a, hey, got it, get back to you. Try to give some thoughtful response. Hey, so yet another gray and drizzly. Man, it's deja vu all over again. And yet another gray and drizzly start today around these parts. Expecting some clearing out this afternoon with any luck. But whether it will be enough to catch a glimpse, carefully of course, of the partial solar eclipse in our neck of the woods today will be, to steal a sports analogy, a game time decision, I would suggest, depending on the clouds and overcast conditions and that sort of thing that have been lingering over us the last few weeks. That's all we need, something else to obscure the sun. Perfect. So in a way, I guess we're getting mooned. We're getting mooned by the sun. Get mooned by the moon. Remember when that was a thing? Mooning? Okay, we won't go there. I believe, the best viewing time, from what I understand, is estimated around 3:30 this afternoon, here anyway, around these parts. And simply put, this is basically the moon getting in the way, passing between the sun and the earth, but only about half of the sun will actually be obscured for us here. Well, places like Greenland, Iceland, Spain, apparently one of the best parts in the world to see this in full flight. They'll get the full meal deal today. And I will say, and I don't know if people are just listening to all of the advice to do so and the people screaming about it or mentioning about it, but almost every vehicle in front of me this morning absolutely had their driving lights on, rear lights on. It was almost weird. It felt like a dream. But every car, I couldn't even find one today to say, hey. While the day before, almost nothing. Weird stuff. Anyway, who knows? Rhyme and reason. And speaking of driving, a number of drops, after a number of drops in price, I should say, of fuel prices, they're back up today with a nice, pretty good bump, too. There's like 6.5 cents a litre across the board. Gas is up, and diesel, 12 cents. Big 12, and the price of furnace and some stove oil increases, of course, too, in different parts of the province, in pockets of the province, mostly 10 cents per litre as well, as we head into the cooler season. So there you go for that. And let's see, and don't look now, but the Jays have moved Blue Jays, I'm going to go there, full game closer to the final wildcard spot now, just 2.5 games back. That was quick, after taking another game from the previously red-hot Red Sox. And this was a comeback win, no less, 5-3 last night at Rogers Centre after taking the first game of the series 2-1. So that's 9 wins, I think, now in the last 13 games. Again, following a similar script from last year. Not saying they're necessarily on their way back to the World Series at this point, but they're showing some solid signs of life, and they're doing it in August when, all teams are feeling the grind, right, of injuries. Every team is dealing with it. Seems like a lot, but, everybody's kind of like, there's nothing ruled out, I don't think, to the end of the season, although Savage still has a big question mark around him. But it's everything associated with a long season, 162-game schedule, travel and everything else. But just like last year, the call-ups are stepping up. I mentioned the kid McAdoo yesterday, and how about rookie Brett Bateman? Who, you say? Exactly. So he slides into center field, replacing the traded rookie, Brett Bateman, I should say, if I didn't say. Replacing the traded Dalton Varsho, just slides right in, no problem. Drives in 2 key runs with a single and a double. Where was he on your depth chart at the start of the season, one wonders? Or Spencer Miles, a minor leaguer, pickup in the offseason. He comes in, gets his first career save. And meanwhile, guys like Ernie Clement, Miles Straw, Kirky, Alejandro Kirk, and Lucas, they're all doing what they do in the clutch. So there you go. Meanwhile, the home run leader on the team, and this is a night on a night that ace Dylan Cease did not have his best stuff, by the way. Okamoto was scratched again with knee soreness. And Vladdy, well, let's just say he's not his daddy. Not yet, anyway. He had a solid, hit, looked like a solid single. Maybe he's tried to stretch it into a double. But, yeah, he's out at second base, so still judgment on the base paths. His defense, unquestionable, but everything else on the offense side still he's just not right. And, of course, the provincial summer games continuing on the West Coast, and it's early. Only a few days in. But so far for St. John's North, let's see, St. John's North leads the medal standings with 4 gold and a silver, followed by Avalon with 1 silver, 3 bronze, and the hosts in third with 2 gold and a silver. And yes, we would welcome calls from anyone taking part or spectating, volunteering, you name it, whatever you're doing out there. If you're just watching it all and taking it all in, listen, we're all over it. If you'd like to call and give us a little taste of what you're seeing and what you're experiencing out there, that would be just grand, too. And look, we're on the Churchill Falls Watch, of course, here. The silence, again, is deafening. But beyond that, and somewhat hydro-related, of course, I don't know if it's been fixed, but my understanding was that by midnight last night, the power outages around Grossmore National Park and the communities, I'm told, thanks, Dave. Dave tells me now, confirms that the power is back. However, the last couple of days now, then this was all due to a bird strike, a crow apparently, a crow strike of hydro infrastructure, and you hate to see it happen at all, especially in Grossmore at the height of tourism season. But if it had to, too bad it wasn't while the PM was there just a week and a half ago. That's just another sidebar. But apparently this is not a one-off, from what I understand from listening to the sort of, bemoaning out there of what they're going through the last couple of days. People apparently calling for backup service and power before to avoid this kind of a situation where they're left high and dry. Businesses, losing thousands of dollars a day in revenue that they need to survive in the off-season, or less busy off-season, I would suggest, because that's slowly improving and changing as we adapt to climate and everything that's going on there. Lots of spoilage, apparently, restaurants, and then you got people in the B&Bs and different tourists that are staying out there, and it just upsets the apple cart, really. Don't need it. And it takes time to ramp back up, right? So, the B&Bs, their guests, all caught up in this, water issues as well. So, yes, it looks like the power is back, but maybe we've reached out to Hydro, and we're going to possibly speak to some people. Also hopefully talking to a mayor or two out in that area of how to best prepare and be a little bit more proactive instead of reactive, as I've talked about before on this program. Yeah, and look, I don't know what to say about this, but I've been attempting to insert discussion about AI and artificial intelligence into as many conversations as possible here on the program, because it really should be top of mind these days in most things we do. Not just to be aware of its, what's the word I'm looking for, ubiquitous existence right now, like it's everywhere, and it's involved with everything that we do. Could be, maybe. We suspect it may be, and we don't know sometimes. But, of course, the dangers associated with same. And we've been talking about its use globally, right, on the big-ticket topics, such as militarily, and the risks of some forms of AI going rogue, thinking for itself, etc. But it bears repeating and reminding that it's right here, in our midst, in our backyards as well, in our children's midst. And look no further than the charges laid this week against a 17-year-old boy here in St. John's, of course, alleging using AI to alter images to create sexually explicit material and sharing it online. So police received the complaints, of course, back in January from teenage girls. They went to the police about this, who indicated that images of them and their friends and that sort of thing have been digitally altered, sexually explicit ways, and posting on social media. And so the police investigated and traced it all back. Of course, the technology that takes these investigations take a little bit longer than they used to in the old days. I mean, now we're into the technological side of things and the compatibility and being able to have the programs to properly investigate these things and track them through IP addresses and all the rest of it. So a 17-year-old boy in the ghouls. And the teenager, he's charged with 19 counts each of making, possessing, distributing child sexual abuse and exploitation material. So the use of AI to alter photos and that sort of thing. I mean, that's just another realm, isn't it, that we have to deal with. And parents are being asked, of course, to speak with young people in their lives about the responsible use of technology, consent, the consequences of online behavior. So as I said, 19 counts each across the board for this 17-year-old. Right now, I guess technically he wouldn't be charged as an adult or wouldn't be tried as an adult, but we can see that can change in the process of a court process. And what was I going to say about that? I'm losing connectivity myself. And I will say, I don't know, if, to what extent we can, cover this or lose it or get, it gets lost in our, in what we're doing here. But when you think about AI and its intricacies, the altering of real pictures of girls, depicting them nude and otherwise sexual depictions, details, and this is just one case that we know of. These girls, alleged victims, they came forward, brought this to the attention of police. We can only imagine how much of this is going on unchecked. This is just one incident, one teenager. Maybe the only positive in this is the awareness that it creates, amongst teens. This is the real power of what they're dealing with these days, the real risks that exist. It's reactive, of course, again, because the damage has been done for the girls in these photos and shared online already. I don't know how long it would take to get an AI education, a course, a dedicated course in the curriculum, even if it's just a sub-course of the already needed, and we know it's needed, courses on social media that we need to insert into the curriculum. To get them as young as we can, to get their minds around this, wrap it around, and not just the perks of social media and online and all the rest of it, and AI and its good uses, but also its really nasty uses and the like. And let's see, what else was I going to just mention before we get? More and more emails, of course, from those angry and frustrated with the service that they're getting, self-service, whether it's from Bell or other providers, but mostly Bell in the wake of these fires, of course, that a person has been charged with, including customers in a local seniors building that I mentioned before, some of them without Bell service for the past couple of weeks. And it's spotty. Some people are getting it back. Some people, their tablets or their phones are automatically connecting to others. Towers and connections and getting them by, but some more information and some more solid timelines on this kind of thing would be very helpful. And I mentioned this yesterday regarding the new routes around Brookfield Road and the Team Guju Highway and the completed roundabouts, that the old route down Brookfield Road is now basically a dead end. So when you come to Commonwealth Avenue and you are heading west on Brookfield, say down towards Sesame Park or Bowring Park or the experimental farm there, the old mill, Lester's, you can't go down the old way anymore, and eventually get downtown. You got to go through the new roundabouts, and apparently signage is there, but it all takes some getting used to, right? A new path that so many of us are used to just going on down Brookfield Road. But if you haven't been there, one of the best ways is just to drive through it and get to know it, not in a hurry, but just as a little, like the fire department does sometimes. They do, trips into the community sometimes just for recognition of new cul-de-sacs or routes to get to and from different sites in case they do an emergency. So familiarity, they call it sometimes. Just to have a look through before you get in the middle of it, because you don't want to be caught off guard and not know where you're going, and just do as much homework as you can before you drive through it, if at all possible. And I also see now where there is at least a statement or an explanation from the Premier's office regarding his absence at the meetings of Eastern Canadian Premiers and New England governors in Vermont this week. But only after media went asking why he didn't go and why he wasn't there, because we saw others there. Again, all very reactive, and as I said yesterday, I don't begrudge the Premier not being there, no question. Some pretty big files on his desk at home right now, and not the least of which the aforementioned negotiations, discussions around Churchill Falls, and with trade and tariff talks at the highest levels now as they inch toward this new, and probably not the last, deadline of August the 19th. Who knows? Depends on whatever the President of the United States decide last minute before, and this is all before the new 50% tariffs kick in, allegedly, or, threateningly. I guess that's what's going on. There's a lot behind the scenes because, again, no information, no updates on timelines, where we are with all of that. So instead of getting out in front of this, even just a news release from the Premier maybe late last week or something from the government to say, this is happening, here's who's going, but it's not the Premier because this is happening. There was no news release. There was no information whatsoever. And then the media had to go looking and chasing it down. So we'll wait, we have to wait for responses and communications again, and that's just frustrating. That's all. And again, in the age of communication and transparency, it would have just been nice. It's a pretty big event. We hosted it here last year. And again, the Premier is not the only one. Premier Wakeham is not the only one not at these meetings. A lot of people, leaders choosing to stay at home, send proxies or people in their place to deal with those issues and give updates. But just some communication. Not to know what's going on with it, everybody else there. It's usually a gathering of all those leaders. Anyway, that's enough me babbling on because I can hear people saying it. Let's take that first break of the morning. And a couple of callers in the queue and lots of room for you on this midweek Wednesday edition of Open Line. We'll be right back.
This is the best of VOCM Open Line with Brian Callahan.
Newfoundland Labrador Summer Games are well underway now on the West Coast, specifically Corner Brook, of course, but it'll be at Stephenville for some of the track events. Right now on the line, I'd like to welcome to the program the Summer Games Director, David Campbell. You're on the air.
Hi there. How's everything this morning?
Morning. Great on my end. There's so many things going on out there now. I imagine under your direction. How are the games going so far?
Game's been going really great. We just wrapped up the first half of competition, so our first half athletes departed yesterday, and we're getting ready to welcome our second half athletes today. Yeah,
and beyond just, David, I was noticing some of the great human stories that are coming out of this, as far as whether they're generational. I think, is it Mr. Cole? I think 50 years ago, first ever Canada Games that he competed in Corner Brook, of course, 50 years ago, and now his grandson is doing it, and I saw other stories involving mom and daughter on the soccer pitch. That must be the great part of this, that, the medals are one thing, but these other connections and generational connections and subplots, I guess, if you will, to the games are just great too, hey?
Yeah, absolutely. Everything we do is about the athletes, and we love hearing the stories of their connections from the first NL games that happened here in Corner Brook, Stephenville in 1976. So it is this 50th anniversary is a return to the birthplace of the NL Games. So it's fantastic to be here. It's been the city has been really great in welcoming us, and we have had a great first half of competition, some really close games, and the kids. They've loved it. It's been really, really good, and that's what we do this for is for the athletes, and they've had some really great opportunities to showcase themselves, as well as the opportunity to make some new friends, people that they don't normally get to meet from other regions, but even some of the larger regions, they bring people together from different parts. So there's St. John's North and then Mount Pearl South, but then we have the Avalon region. So it's basically everything that's not the metro area of St. John's. And so you've got kids from CBS, you've got kids from Bay Roberts, and now they're all playing on the same team. So it's you may have grown up competing against these people that are now your teammates. So it's really interesting, and it's a really great dynamic that we've seen here at the games.
Yeah, and for the first time that I can recall, we have a team Indigenous, correct?
Team Indigenous has been a part of the games for, I believe it's 10 years now. So they are made up of any either Halapu, Mi'kmaq, Innu, or Southern Innu and Nunatsiavut here in the province. So they can be located anywhere. A majority of our Team Indigenous athletes are going to be located in Labrador, but they can be located anywhere in the province. And we work with the Aboriginal Sport and Recreation Circle very closely to help identify those athletes and help them get them to the games.
Yeah, and to your point, though, I mean, as you said, right, it's a melding of all Indigenous peoples in the province where that team is, where that team comes from. So, again, it's not just, as you said, people from different parts of the province in different divisions or different teams all over the island for the first time competing together. But for the Indigenous too, I mean, look, it's just again, it's a great melting pot of everybody who normally would have competed against each other, come from different provinces and different indigeneity, right? So important for them to mix with each other and everybody to see each other as one when it comes to just the sport, the competition.
Absolutely, and I mean, we actually had through the first half of the games with our male ball hockey group, Team Indigenous, their goalie actually got hurt, and one of the goaltenders from the St. John's North team stepped in so that they had enough players so that they didn't have to default, because there's a minimum number that they have to maintain. So it's just that camaraderie that's built within the games and within multi-sport competition. That's just, yes, we're here, we're competitors, but at the end of the day, we're also people, and we want to make sure that everybody gets the chance to. We don't want to see anybody lose out because they got a player hurt and they don't have enough players now. So it was really great to see. It was a really, really great moment during the male ball hockey tournaments in the first half. And
my apologies. I don't recall seeing the Team Indigenous sign from the previous games, but I guess, I can't say I covered it full time, only because I'm usually down in the darker places of the province covering stories in the courts and that sort of thing. No excuse, but I didn't realize it had been a decade, so mea culpa there as well. How are the facilities? Everything working out? As you said, this is the changeover now today. Facilities all good there, and now a lot of it takes up with track and that sort of thing in Stephenville, is that right?
Yeah, so the facilities have been great. We're utilizing the Civic Center here in Corner Brook for a ball hockey tournament. The Wellington Complex has been home to soccer, baseball, beach volleyball in the first half. They're completed competition now, but it just in behind the complex there is the tennis court, recently resurfaced tennis court. So it's a beautiful facility. We actually held the Government of Newfoundland and Labrador, our PARS funding announcement for Sport NL was at that tennis court yesterday. Yeah. So it's a beautiful facility, and looking forward to welcoming our tennis athletes into that one. Rugby sevens will be partaking in the games. So growing from the competition that happened at the 2025 Canada Games in St. John's, we're seeing a resurgence of rugby, which is great. So, I mean, that's another great thing about these games, is that they help to revive some sports that they, maybe my goodness, I think it was 1996 was the last time that rugby was a part of the NL Games. So it's really great to see that type of participation, those numbers grow, that we can now welcome them back into the game. So really happy about that. And the facilities have been great, and the folks around Corner Brook have been great. Our first half baseball games were very well attended. Some of the games that were later in the evening, held under the lights, I tell you, those kids felt like rock stars. They had the whole side of the field, the street, everything was lined with people. It was a really great scene.
Yeah, it's funny, we punch well above our weight on the national and international scene, arguably, in rugby, and that's despite the fact I didn't realize it hadn't been a part of the game since '96 because of the success of, say, the Rock teams or the Vandals or any of the teams that we've had, Swallows and all the rest of it. That the success that the Rock teams have across the country has always been. So you can only imagine, it'll just bolster the numbers and the popularity and the success of those going down the road. And, it just strikes me, David, that, youth really need this more than it, just as much as we all do. A good coming together of non-negativity and showing them that it's not all bad news, and God knows it's hard to escape it these days when you look at, say, just the general news cycle and, the risks that are out there for kids and youth these days, and games like this and the discipline that comes with it and the lessons learned and the friendships and the camaraderie and the just the goodness, the kindness that comes out of this, such as you said, fill in a goalie, no problem. It's not necessarily first competition is the first thing, it's helping out another person. So the lessons that they learn at this go well beyond just the sports itself, correct?
Oh, absolutely. I think that there was, kind of, I guess, a little bit off topic, but at the same time, within the same realm is, they talk about some of the top level executives in the world, and every single one of those people, or not every single one, but I think it was like 80 or 85% of top level executives have been involved in team sports or been involved in high level competition within sports. So it is something that helps to develop young people so early on and helps them to keep the habits that they develop as they're going through, whether it's a recreational league or they take it a little bit further and go into high performance. It is the lessons that they learn definitely stay with them throughout their entire lives, and part of that is the coaching. The coaching that they receive, it's incredibly important that we have qualified coaches with our teams, so that they're not only giving them the correct information to help them develop their skills on the field, but also helping them to develop off the field of play. So it is our coaches play such a huge role, and so we place a pretty high emphasis on qualified coaches. So it is, I can think of a few times throughout the course of my life, things that coaches have said to me, and they just, I'm 46 now, so I still remember all the things that were said to me when I was 12 and 13 years old out on the field, and how to conduct myself. Yeah. So the things that they learn here at these games, and even in their, like I say, in their minor leagues, in their rec leagues, wherever the case may be, those coaches have a big impact on their lives. So it's something that we focus on a lot.
Yeah, and that's not lost on them as they grow up too, and then they become even coaches themselves. It just trickles down, right through the generations. Amazing. I'm really glad you mentioned that, the coaches and then even the other volunteers who are just in it to mentor these kids, not just in sports, but just in behavior and just being good stewards, good people. Whether it's some sport, you can learn so much from it. I'm a fanatic, as you may know, so there's not a bit of sport that I don't look into, but you always look at how they got to that point. You just don't achieve those goals, as you said. People end up being, some of the biggest leaders and some of the greatest mentors in the world. So there's so much more to it than that, and just again getting away from the negativity and showing that there's room for positivity and good life experiences in this world beyond just the negative stuff that's going on. And the games do that in spades. Absolutely. So hats off to you and all the staff and all the volunteers and the parents, of course. Holy, I know a bunch of parents that went out with their kids this week. So being right there by the side to see some of that stuff, and generationally as we're speaking, can't say enough good about it. And we're trying to push the good news here on this program. So I appreciate and thank you for contributing to that.
Well, thank you for reaching out, and it's this is not anything that is completed by any one person. It takes an entire team, and we've had an incredible group of volunteers that have come out. They have brought together all these talking about 1,500 participants across the island, spread across the two halves of the week, and this team of volunteers has the host committee has been phenomenal. They've been really great to work with, so I'm really happy. They really help to put this all together. So while I hold the title of games director, it's certainly not something that I do by myself. So I definitely want to make sure that I acknowledge them as they've done some incredible work.
This is the best of VOCM Open Line.
Go to line number 1. And Lisa, you're on the air.
Good morning, Brian. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. You know, it's funny, right? It's a moving target here on the program, and some days they're waiting outside the door, and other days, you know, people are busy and they don't have time to call. Yep. I appreciate that, but you did. What's on your mind?
Well, I am calling today to let your listeners know about a fun little prize ticketed event that we're doing here at United Way, Newfoundland, Labrador.
Right.
We did this last year, and it's Get Away with a Local Stay.
Nice.
So this year what we did was we added another word into it. So it's Get Away with a Local Labor Day Stay. But you don't have to go on Labor Day. You can go whenever you want because this package, it's $5 a ticket. And the package includes a $500 Airbnb gift card, a $125 grocery card, $100 Tim's card for your coffee, $100 gas card to get you where you're going, and a $100 prepaid visa for any incidentals you'd like to get on your travels. So the ticket will give you an opportunity to win that neat little prize package, and it's just, you know, a way to open up a prize opportunity for people all across the province, because it doesn't matter where you're to. You know, if you're in Labrador, you could win this prize. If you're on the Northern Peninsula, you could win this prize. So it's not a big fancy prize, but it's a fun little getaway that's really about supporting local, which is what we do here at United Way, Newfoundland, Labrador. So you can support your local businesses, but you can also, by buying a ticket, support the work that we're doing in the community. So, and tickets are on sale until August. I was going to say April, not April. Yeah. August the 25th. It's a draw date, so if people are interested, they can certainly check us out on our Facebook at United Way NL, or I don't know if it's on our website. Actually, I'm saying that out loud now, but they can also call our office, and you can call us here at 709-753-8288, and we can hook you up with a ticket for this wonderful little prize, and feel good about giving back to your community.
Yeah, no kidding, and especially when it comes to United Way. Look, any opportunity to plug these local service organizations such as United Way in it, it bears repeating and keeping on the front burner that United Way is alive and well in the province. No offense to it, but, you know, a lot of the other locally grounded, founded organizations certainly, are out in front of their causes. So it's good to hear that, we all knew. I mean, you're involved with everything. What else? Just recently who was it I had on from United Way? What was the last?
That was me.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say who, because yes, it was you. But I'm trying to remember what we were talking about, the last cause you were talking about.
That was when we did our Day of Caring.
Right.
So a day when we had all of our volunteers out and about, giving back to the communities that are supported through United Way. A sampling, I guess, of some of the communities that are supported through, United Way Community Fund initiatives. So, there's a lot of great things happening in this province, a lot of wonderful organizations that are doing so much and helping so many. So our role in the community is to help offset the needs for those groups. We're really proud of the work that we do, and we can't do it without the support of the community. So it's really about bringing, it sounds kind of cliche, I guess, but United Way, it's about bringing everybody together because, collectively we can all do so much. And funds raised from this particular prize package now will be directed to our United Way Community Fund, and we'll see those funds be dispersed early in the new year. because that's when we do our granting and things like that. So yeah, it's a great opportunity to have a chance at winning something, and like I said, feel good helping your community while you're at it.
Yep, it's the two birds, so to speak.
Yeah,
one stone.
two birds.
And one more time, just to wrap up now. So it's the $5 a ticket. It's not. Just give me the draw date and where they can get them one more time, because sometimes off the top of the call they might miss it, but want to hear it again. Go for it. For
sure, yeah. So draw date is August 25th. It's 2 weeks away. It's you can win the $1,000 prize package, Airbnb gift card, $25 or $125 grocery card, $100 Tim's card, $100 Visa, and a $100 gas card. So everything you need for a little getaway. And you can buy tickets online. You can visit our Facebook page at United Way NL, and you'll see a link there. We've got a pin at the top. And alternatively, if you'd like to have a chat, you can always give us a call. Happy to do it over the phone for you. And you can reach us at 709-753-8288.
Great stuff. I appreciate that, Lisa. Thanks very much. Lisa Marie Fifield, right, with United Way NL. Look, I always appreciate, everyone appreciates the good work that you do at United Way and the other, again, community service organizations that do so much good work to fill the gaps, right, that we have. Sure. And there are so many. Thanks again for this. Yes. Anytime. That concludes our good news segment. We managed to fill the 15 minutes with it. That's great.
Thank you very much, Brian. Have a great day.
You too. Thanks again. Good luck with it, and keep me posted on how you do with it.
Yeah, for sure. Will do.
Okay, take care.
Okay, bye.
This is the best of VOCM Open Line.
Let's go to line number 2, and Manuel, you're on the air.
Good morning, Brian. I just wanted to let you know I did speak to the MHA for Bonavista yesterday. It wasn't a real good conversation. I did work that to get him to call me, but he did. And
that would be, that's Craig Party, correct?
That's Craig Party, yes.
Okay.
And he's not going to do, I don't think Mr. Party is going to do anything for us. He told me it was worst roads in the province. And like I told him, I said, you got 2,000 or 3,000 cars a day going through your community. I said, look, there's an emergency vehicle coming up there now. And she got to come to almost to a stop to get over that place where I'm to now, parked.
What's that place? What?
They're in Milton. They're in the old Brickyard Road.
Okay, kind of what...
Yes, I had to pull over. I was talking to him and say, Brian, I pulled over, and I was telling him about the people on the wrong side of the road, out over the line, almost losing their vehicle if they're coming up, say towards Georgia Brook, and you veer to the right, they're almost losing control. But he told me there was worse roads, he said, in the province. And I said, well, I mean, it's laughable because they're a joke, Brian. They said there are politicians, but they're a joke. And I just don't get it. I will not count again. Now, I'll tell you the impression I got from Mr. Party yesterday. He'll never, ever receive a call from me again on the roads. And we got those people elected. I vote for him. I vote for him, Brian, but listen, if I had to vote for Craig Party today, I wouldn't vote for him.
Well, a lot of that has to do with the difference in the answer that you would have gotten, say, before he was elected into government and after. So I doubt he would have given you... I doubt he would have given you that answer last year, hey? Any politician wouldn't have given you that answer last year when they were trying to get elected.
Brian, he lied to me the last time he was elected. He said he was putting our roads in to be done. He lied to me this time when he got elected. He said he was going to put them in to be done. Our roads is not put in with the government to be done. Now, I don't know what's going on. It's almost like a recipe for, I don't know. It's almost like a recipe for fraud. It's almost like there's something going on in the background. And the council, Brian, is just bad. We've sent pictures to the council, and they refer us right to the government. Boy, we got elected. We elected the council. I didn't elect him. I didn't vote for him. We elected the council in 2018. We put a council in, and our roads is no different now than what they were when they got elected.
Yeah, well, so much.
I just don't get it all.
Yeah, so much for the allegation or the suggestion that there's partisan politics, that the only roads that get done are roads that are in government districts, because he's finance minister and he actually also has his hand on the purse strings. So one might say, if the finance minister, if not only do you have an MHA in government, but he's the finance minister, and if that can't get it done, then that might be a tough one. And the council should be going to bat for you, no question, not just pawing you off on the government to do your own work.
Well, I talked to a municipal affairs.
Not saying they're not, but yeah.
No, and I talked to. Well, I'm not saying they're not either, but it's questionable. But I talked to municipal affairs about it, and they told me a while back that the council can recommend to the government for we to have our road safety done. Mm-hmm. They did tell me that. But you know what, Brian, before I go, I mentioned to the finance minister or the MHA yesterday about a road was getting paved. I'm not going to say the place, okay?
Okay.
That's fine. He didn't know, he said, that road. Would you believe that he being the MHA for Bonavista, that he didn't know that road was getting pavement in his district? That's impossible. And that road, which should have been done, yes, God love them, Brian. They're getting this road done. Listen, I commend them and I support them. But how did the MHA not know? He said, now when I get off the phone with you, he said, I'm going to find out. Brian, that's not possible in today's world. It's not. If it is, then they're in touch with the real world, isn't it?
Well, you're doing a step better, because Glenn, who called earlier, said there's no response from anyone except the Conservative MP, Jonathan Rowe, on this issue, specifically as well on George's Brook Milton Road. So, look, I don't know to speak to that specific. I'm not in on the conversation. I don't know how it went. Yes, on the surface, if an MHA doesn't know of a specific road that's getting a lick of pavement or getting fixed up, I'd be surprised, because that's the first thing they'd want to talk about, or at least to say as an example that, yes, we are doing work and we are doing roads and we're not sitting around on our hands in the summer months.
And Brian, wonderful. And if the MHA interceded for that road, to get that pavement they got done, God love him. My hat is off to him. If he did, but he told me he don't live too far from that road either. There's no way, Brian, in the world he's lying to me.
Which part of the road are you talking about? Which one part are you talking about that's actually getting done right now?
Well, it's a by road. It's off from George Brook is the main link, one of the main links, apart from the Bonavista Highway into Bonavista.
Right.
Now, this road I'm talking about, Brian, it's a by road. It's a dead end road, but there's no way that he didn't know. It's just not possible. But he flabbergasted me, and that's what enticed me now not to call him back. Not him. I'll lobby to help get the road done if we can, but I won't be calling the finance minister.
It is surprising that not off the top of his mind he would know that. I wasn't in on the conversation, but judging what you're saying. But even if he didn't know, his staff would know. And he's the finance minister, so no question, he's got a lot on his plate, but you're still an MHA for your area, and to not know that a road's getting done, I mean, as I said, that would be the good news. That's something that you would want to talk about, publicize, be aware of, so you could throw it into a speaking note if you needed to, at a speech, just to say, yes, we are doing work, and I'm aware of it, but...
Well, I've seen it all before. Look, Mr. Pardy's a fine man, but he's a lousy politician. But I speak as I find, and Craig knows that me and he agree to disagree, hey. But I'm telling you, he is, and I've seen lousy politicians like him in the past, because I've dealt with stuff, the kind of stuff it does to help people, hey, a lot of time, out there trying to help someone.
Yep.
And I know when a politician is a lousy and that Jonathan Rowe, I never vote for him. And I'm telling you something, Brian, I wouldn't vote for any of the ran them all.
Why not?
Well, you take the Southwest Coast there now, that fish. I'm not a fisherman, Brian, but you take the Southwest Coast over there. Couldn't he lobby for them people on the southwest coast to have one day a week or one day a month for to put a bit of fish in their fridge to take them through?
Sure.
Brian, if you couldn't give them one day a week like us, I mean, it had to be something they could open that for a day or two or whatever, or a week altogether, and for people to go out and put fish on their table for the winter. But it's shameful, isn't it?
It certainly seems to be made more complicated than it actually is. But again, I don't have a lot of detail into it. We do know the reasons, and that is the conservation side of things. And if the commercial, you can see sort of DFO looking at this, and they don't want to pit the commercial fishers against the recreational fishers and have a bunch of tour boats and other people going out and getting their feed of the food fishery, which again can't compare to the take or the quota you're going to take with a commercial. But the idea is just not to pit one against the other and put pressure on the science, which tells them that it's still in a critical zone down on the west and south coasts. I don't know if we do.
Yes, you could be very well right, Brian. But I think it's corporate greed that causes this to happen. People get too greedy, and they got enough, but they want more.
Yep. Well, that's certainly always the way.
That's what it is. Well, that's always the way. Well, Brian, listen, I thank you very much for taking my call, and you keep up the good work. You're a very easy person to talk to.
Well, I appreciate that. You get differing opinions on that.
Well, no, listen, you don't have to agree with everything people say or agree with everything I say.
No, absolutely.
But you know what? For you to be able to stand there, I didn't know you stand up. I didn't know you stand up. I thought you sat in the chair. But some people prefer to stand anyway when they're talking or when they're doing things or have a piece of paper in their hand.
True.
But that's their preference to do.
I just get too lazy sitting down, and I could have a nap in a moment. So there you go.
No, you're not lazy. But I'll tell you one thing now. And it is what it is, but you're doing a good job, and you listen to the people, and I hope and the government is listening too.
Absolutely, we know that.
I vote for Tony Wakeham, and I'll be honest with you, I vote for Tony Wakeham. Tony Wakeham said he was going to make it better for our people. Well, if Tony Wakeham wants to make it better, Brian, for our people, he'd take care of that situation there in George Book Mountain. For our school buses, our emergency vehicles, our seniors, and everybody else that is driving over that road, and not be trying to shun their responsibility.
Loud and clear, Manuel.
That's exactly. Yeah, and you have a beautiful day.
I'll try. I still can't see across the road here. Pardon?
Yeah, and if I hear anything, that I don't want to be calling you every day, but if I hear anything that is positive, I'll be the first one to let you know.
Absolutely. Or frustration is fine too. I mean, so you just got to push the envelope, and eventually, till you get an answer, and at least you got an answer, unlike Glenn earlier, who hasn't been able to get an answer. But at least you had a one-on-one with the minister or the MHA, and whether it got you anywhere or not, eh?
No, waste time.
Yep.
Waste time. And waste time with the other ones too, the federal part.
Yep.
And it's too bad, Brian. Those people's elected to represent us. And I know I'm not the only one that don't get represented proper, eh? But if they want to get elected when they run again, the secure their pensions, because Brian, that's what it's all about. I mean, those people are going to run again, so they get a good pension at the end of the day. Or the government, what happens to them, from what I can see, the government gives them some cushy jobs after he gets out of politics. And that's exactly what happens to them. And you put that in the room or put that somewhere.
That is the way it's always been done. Manuel, I got to get off to the break, but look.
Thank you very much for taking the call. I could go on and go on. I talked last night sleep.
Oh, I got no problem with that. But as you said, fill me in. The good or the bad, let me know. Keep me posted.
Listen, you keep up the good work. I'm sure you will.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I really do.
Yeah, you take care now.
This is the best of VOCM Open Line with Brian Callahan.
Let's go to line number 1. And Verna, you're on the air.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm calling in regards to transportation and infrastructure.
Sure.
All the ferries that they are under the management of. When are they going to start doing their jobs? Management from our minister to our transportation minister. Never mind the wait until the problem exists. The problems already do exist. In regards to Bell Island, Fogo, Change Islands, it is pathetic that one department has so much control of so much of our lives, from our transportation to our health to our education, and nobody is accountable. Tony Wakeham, our minister, our premier, where are you? Are you holding people accountable? I noticed that some of them from the different departments that got promoted up with more monies got demoted. And it's about time, because why put them in positions that they're not qualified for?
Who is
and
it?
Why promote them? What, like in regards to transportation, in regards to education, the ones that are promoted in for different departments, per se.
Okay.
I'm not pointing fingers at anyone in particular. I'm pointing to everybody in particular. But the one that does affect me first and foremost is the boats, the ferries. Number one, our ferry on Bell Island, the Legionnaire, the side ramp on the right-hand side has been down for months. We only have one ramp, so that means 12 to 14 cars less that are being put on. Why? Isn't it fixed? It's a sensor, to my understanding. If not, could they get on and say what's really going on and why they can't fix it?
Oh, I would appreciate that greatly, as much as you. Trust me.
And the second one is the Flanders. We can only take so many people on because they are less of, this lifeboat. That's been going on for 2 years. They don't have enough lifeboats there for the full accommodations for the amount that they hold for people walk on, whether we walk on, drive on, or whatever.
Sure.
So we are set back to set number of people. We are in the middle of the summer. Never mind tourists. Let's go with the people that are originally from Bell Island, that want to get to Bell Island to see their families, whether it's graveyard service, whether it's to bury somebody, whether it's for a wedding, whatever. Why can't they have that entitlement? The same as Fogo. Why can't they have that entitlement? Who's pulling it from us? I see Fogo again today. There's something going on with one of the boats. Is it fair to them? No. And they do not start a plan in motion until the problem has existed. Like a prime example, that one ramp is down. Oh, it's okay. They got the other ramp. Okay, when the other ramp goes down, what then? Then they bring the boat down and fix the two ramps, and then we're going down to one small boat. Is it acceptable? No. If I worked for somebody and I wasn't doing my job, I would be demoted and I would be let go. And as far as saying these people don't know what's going on, it's the same people in that government management. The only one changed was Mr. Pettin. And Mr. Pettin should be holding their feet to the ground and having them accountable. And if he can't, maybe they should put somebody else as minister there. And it's time for Mr. Wakeham to account these people for it. Because when he was the opposition, he was on there saying he was going to change, he was going to do this. Never mind doing this assessment now. It's time for action. And the people deserve it. For somebody and somebody's workers to have so much control of other people's lives, it's not right.
Verna,
I can't do it.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
I was just wondering, look, I'm looking back at the comments that were made pre-election, post-election, the tender that was put out. I think the request for proposals, I should say, for the additional swing vessel, and that was back in December of 2025. And then the request for proposals to assess the Newfoundland and Labrador shipbuilding capacity. That seemed like after the promise in the election were 3-4 ferries. Talk of building them locally. It was all positive and upward and all the rest of it, but we're still into the same problems. And I spoke to the mayor of Fogo Island yesterday about this, the lack of proactiveness. If, this was on the radar, this has been on the radar forever, for decades, but specifically the last election. And there were all kinds of great things said about how they're going to improve and fix it and how it was left to, fall apart under the previous government, which every government says when they get in about the previous government. But,
and I don't want...
Yep.
The one thing, sorry for interrupting.
No, not at all.
The one thing I don't want is Mr. Hogan come in and say, we need answers, we deserve answers. Mr. Hogan, we never ever seen your face, let alone the back of your body in Bell Island. The bit of time that you were in. So don't say you did this or you did that. And as far as Mr. Hutton, Fred, he was in there, he was excellent. But he had no backing for that. They pulled him out of there before he could make a change, and while he was trying to make a change, they held his feet to the ground, and they wouldn't allow it, because at the time, Mr. Baker was in as minister, and he was pro of Bell Island. It was whatever it was, but anyway, he left. And if Mr. Hogan thinks he can get on there and say it's time for them to answer, Mr. Hogan and Mr. Fury, they didn't do too much for Bell Island either, or Fogo, or anywhere else. It's the dilapidation of the ferries and what's going on with the ferries is lack of proper management. If they had the proper people in there that were oversight of all of this refits, maintenance, then it could be done. People think maintenance, that's the crew. No, maintenance is for people to be coming in, making sure this work is on the ferries. They're not qualified. The crew are not qualified. They crew the boat. They do not do the mandatory maintenance that should be done on an ongoing basis. And you're not going to have it. If you don't have a marine experience management that's overseeing this, it's not going to happen. We have it's not a shore-based manager. We have somebody in the Cove, and Mark is a greeter. He's a very nice man, but he doesn't have the answers or qualifications. That's where a transportation shore-based manager comes in. Somebody with experience, qualifications, with the Marine Department, with refits, with everything that should be taking place with these ferries everywhere. And in regards to if each place had somebody in there, the proper management, same as the management up in the Confederation building. Are they qualified? Do I feel? No. They are just promoted friends of friends. And they're not being held accountable, and they're still doing what they always did, little or nothing, and getting away and getting a paycheck. It's time.
Yeah, the more things change, the more they stay the same, Verna. Look, I'm just reviewing it again, and I remember, the promises made in the provincial election about new ferries being built here, and then it took only, and it wasn't until last month that there was actually the release of a request for proposals, and this wasn't to actually build them. This is for a consultant to review the capacity and readiness. I would have thought that would have been done before they made promises about, a shipbuilding or building ferries in this province, but it wasn't until last month that the request for proposals just for a consultant to review them. And that closing date for that submission to find a consultant, I guess an external one, again, to the NDP's point and other points about, farming out reviews and consultancy work and communications work outside the government. Maybe that speaks to what we don't have in-house. I don't know. But that closing submission...
For years and years, This years and years, we have always had a user committee. Mm-hmm. I was part of that user committee for 7+ years.
And Gary Gazine.
What did we do? Gary Gazine, when he started, he was part of it as well. And poor Gary is gone. Did it make a change? We would try to hold their feet to the ground, but let's face it, if they don't have the proper management or the proper person in control that are going to do their jobs too, what can we do? So it came to that point that we dissolved the user committee. Because of that, because we were getting the harassment, we were getting the people wanting us. Why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing that? We were only an advisor. We would only suggest. And were we listened to? Most times it went in the garbage next to them.
Yeah, and don't kid yourself. The disappearance of that Fair Users Committee wasn't the worst thing in government's eyes to happen. I'm sorry, but I've heard quietly that, it's a thorn in the side. It's always pushing government, and it wasn't really always welcome, right? To constant criticism. But,
100%. But the thing was, we were doing their jobs answering the people of Bell Island. Mm-hmm. When they should have been answering the people of Bell Island. Look, they don't want to talk to people. What's the 511? That's a prime example. I don't want to call for anybody to be able to call. You can try all them numbers, and you'll never get a person. You'll get a secretary. We'll leave a message. You'll send an email. You'll get a generic reply, and 3 months later, when that problem has been fixed, they'll throw it in your face, say, what are you talking about? And then I'll put it back to them with, this is the email 3 months ago. Now it's 3 months later. This is what I was asking about. Why didn't you answer then? And then the final thing I have to say in regards to this here is it's time, like when we have it and it's busy and they have it in place, that it's the captain's discretion if an extra trip should take place. It's not taking place. And are they being accounted for? No. Who do they account to?
Well, it'd be great to have answers to that, why a crossing does or doesn't happen, and if it's at the captain's discretion. I mean, I'm going to defer to the captain. He knows a lot more about seafaring than I do. Verna,
Saturdays and Sundays. Saturdays and Sundays especially, because we've had, graveyard service, we've had Bell Out Fest, we've had Bell Island Day, and that's why it was put into place. We fought for that for years. We fought to have extra trips in the summer, especially on the weekends. And why should you have to always go and say, can we please have it? Bended knees, please give it to us, because we figure we at least deserve this one-time favor. We're not asking for favors. We're asking for fairness. We're not asking to be treated as special people. We're asking to be treated as equal people.
Loud and clear, Verna. You shouldn't have to grovel and beg and plead for it. Absolutely. It should be essential service.
And like I say, and I'm not only fighting for Bell Island, I'm fighting for all the communities with the Ferry User Committee from the provinces. And the lack of service, and, they'll take from one to give to the other. Yep. Right now, if something happens, do we have a swing vessel? No. Yep. You know what they did? They took the sound of Islay, which is supposed to be the swing, and they put it in Fogo. So if we have a problem, and Fogo don't deserve to have it taken from them, but we don't have we don't deserve to have one without it.
Yeah, we know that's happened before, Verna. It's almost pitting one community against another, which is not.
And it's set up again. The same thing is set up again, because the 3 boats are now in Fogo, Change Islands, and if something happens here, then they're going to say, we're going to have to take one of these boats. And I can see that Fogo is going to say, we need them boats. We're going through the fisheries, we're going through the tourism, but we're going to say, but we need more than one small boat, or we need more than one boat. And we're not fighting to compete against each other. We're fighting for equality and fairness to everyone. And like I say, for the mayor of Fogo, and you know what? It's better by numbers.
You're absolutely right. And numbers working together.
Yeah, yep. And we had the protest up on Federation Building, and when the Liberals were in, did they come out? No. Could they see us? Yes. Somebody went up there and they said, oh, look, you guys could see us that day we were there. And they, So the Liberals were no better than the PCs are there now.
Every government has been out.
But like I say, I'm not doing to point fingers, but I'm doing to say enough is enough. The people deserve better. Thank you. Have a great day.
This is the best of VOCM Open Line.
And welcome back to the program. I did want to mention, I don't know if this is still obstructing traffic, but there was a dump truck on fire on Pitts Memorial in the westbound lane between Ruby Line and Galway exits this morning, just before 9 o'clock. And we had it in our news. I meant to mention it there again. I don't know. I got a couple of emails from people saying that they've been driving through, and there is a bit of a scene there still with some first responders or cleanup going on. I don't know to what extent it's still backed up, but just as a heads up, This did happen just before 9, and just good to know. Keep in mind if you're heading that way or to or from that way. Westbound lane between Ruby Line and Galway exits on Pitts Memorial. So, dump truck fire probably be out by now. But, just in case you're coming through, just to keep an eye and a heads up. Let's go to line number 1. And, Glenn, you're on the air.
Morning.
Good morning.
I'm calling about the roads and the conditions, especially the shoulder of the roads. There are places in the pavement that are bad, that people are going around on the other side of the road to get away from it. But the maintenance on the shoulders of the roads, there are washouts that if a car happened to go over, they might be somebody from out of this province, a tourism on a rainy night or something that got to pull over for a first responder of something that happened somewhere, and they pull over on the shoulder of the road, and those washouts are so severe that if the car went down there, they're going to dig in, somebody's going to go through the windshield.
Yeah, no question. You hit one of those on just a simple 2-lane road. You go down on one, and she can go sideways, literally, on you in a hurry. You're talking? Are you still talking? Not still talking, but
George's Brook and Milton. Yes, George's Brook and Milton.
Yep.
And the district of Annabesta. Craig Parties, I remember. I tried to reach his office several times, and all I get is a big busy signal. I can't get a hold of him, and it doesn't seem like he wants to do anything about it. I mean, especially the maintenance on the shoulder of the roads. And there's several places I sent photos to the minister, to the provincial minister, not the minister, the member for Bonavesta, and the federal member for our district, Terranova, and our municipal people, council in our district. And I never got a response from anybody.
From not one. So list them all up.
I got one. Yes, I can't say I never got a response from anybody. I did get one from Jonathan Rowe, and he said his hands are tied. He can't do anything about it. So I guess the safety of the people doesn't matter. They don't come first. He can certainly.
His hands might be tied, but he can certainly lobby on your behalf, or at least bring it to their attention if he hasn't already.
Well, he hasn't. I got his email, and his response said his hands are tied. The province, the Minister of Transportation makes all the decisions.
Yeah, and your MHA, of course, is the conduit there. Did you only call Craig Party, your, of course, finance minister? He's not busy at all.
I sent him an email with the photos.
Oh, okay. So email and phone calls.
I sent the photos to Jonathan Rowe. I sent them to our council, and I sent them to Barry Pitt, Minister of Transportation. I never got a response. Only from Jonathan Rowe, and he said his hands are tied. He can't do nothing about it.
They've probably put.
I voted for Jonathan Rowe the last time, but I won't anymore.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, he's not, obviously, he's on an opposition side of the bench of the House of Commons, of course, on a federal level. I don't know. I'm not going to speak for him. I don't know what he may be or may not be doing behind the scenes for you. Of course, you'll get things done quicker in government than you will not in government, but that's the way it works. I'd say they're in a queue, Glenn, to be honest with you, with how many others who have brutal roads in their communities. And I just drove the Burin Peninsula Highway, and I'm telling you, it's a bit white knuckle at times. If you have traffic coming the other way, you have to make decisions quickly. If you've got a big old rut in front of you, especially if you're on motorcycles, which there were a lot this past weekend. And I'm not just downplaying the importance and the significance of your situation there, because you've been on top of this and calling out about it, and legitimately so, looking at the pictures. So, it'd be nice to have response, especially from your provincial minister or provincial member and minister. And some are, some are very responsive, but in this case, apparently not.
Well, they're not, no, because if they were, they would have been on top of it. School year is just around the corner. September is just around the corner, and all those kids are getting on the bus again. As a matter of fact, I've got 3 grandkids that are getting on the bus, and I'm responsible for them. We're their guardians, so I'm calling out about it because I don't want to see somebody get hurt for no reason. It could have been done. There haven't been no maintenance done on the shoulders of the roads for years, and there's washouts there. Bad washouts. Yeah. And they're getting bigger. They forget about Igor. That's my opinion.
Yeah, Hurricane Igor. That was a few years ago.
But it's going to happen again.
Igor was in what year?
2008, 2009, somewhere around there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if there's still remnants of Igor. That would be. I mean, are you saying that nothing's been fixed since then?
No, I'm not saying that. No, because I didn't live here for a long time, but
Okay.
I've been here now in Georgia Brook for about 15 years, and I haven't seen any maintenance on the shoulders of roads.
And Igor was 2010, right?
That's right.
So, yeah, that's 17 years ago. 16 years ago, of course. Look, Glenn, you've been boisterous about this on the program before. I haven't really had anyone call to specifically respond to your concerns, whether it's from government-wise, let alone the minister. They have lots on their plate, of course, but roads are roads, and we constantly have problems with them and trying to keep them up. But you make the point, and I can see where your concern obviously lies. You 3 grandchildren on that road. I can just imagine every time you see them go off, you're wondering.
I'm just reaching out to other people in the community, phone and complain.
Yeah, I mean, phone, email, whatever you have to do, call open line.
That's correct.
That's correct. And again, I get it from everybody. Not everybody calls and takes time to call and do it vocally as yourself, but I get a ton of emails about road problems. I mean, we have bad roads in this province, and it's a hard province to deal with for all the ruralness and the expanse of the province and the spread out population and the needs of all the nooks and crannies. It's hard for them to keep track, probably. Just, I mean, look, I'm going to get a call, I know, any minute or email from people down Burgeo Way and the Burgeo Highway, right? And the list goes on. So,
I know. And the list is going to keep on, because what's happening, if they're not doing the maintenance back some years back and started it, well, the situation just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
And the ruts get wider and wider and wider.
That's correct, sir.
Or and the shoulders of the road diminish. Okay, Glenn, well, it's loud and clear again here this morning, and anyone else who, has to traverse that road and has the same concerns with you, because I know you're not the only one concerned about it, but you're the only one shouting in front of rooftops right now. So,
well, somebody's got to do it. I mean, where's the member for the district? Why is he doing something about it? They're trying to at least address the people.
Yeah, there's a lot of silence right now in government, and who knows? But I invite.
Secrecy.
Yeah, well, I invite them by all means, to try to, at the very least, just respond. I mean, again, it goes a long way just to let you know that you care, you're listening, if nothing else, even if you can't do anything today, just to respond to people like yourself. And I got an email here saying, I often wonder what the Department of Transportation does in the summer. I've seen the road in places where the washout is right up to the pavement, and be like this for 1 year to the next. Like your caller, who are you? He's referring to you right now. Like your caller, what happens if you have to pull over at night? Even the relatively new Team Guju road has the washout in the same place for a couple of years. So there you go. I'm not sure exactly where he's talking about that on the Team Guju, but again, point taken. As he said, at night, if you need to pull over, even if you just got to pull over to relieve yourself, there are some places where you can't get the vehicle completely off the road, and the shoulder is everything. Even if it's only 2.5 feet wide, it's brutal. So half of your vehicle's on the road, and you got a transport coming around the corner. Boy, I'll tell you, you don't want to be standing on the shoulder doing your business when that thing happens. So I've been there.
No, sir. The transport truck, if she got a load on, she's not going to stop on a dime, right?
No, absolutely, and it can come upon you so quickly, especially at night like that. So, and these roads are already narrow enough. So there you go. Glenn, I appreciate it. Keep up the good fight.
Thank you, sir.
Take care. Let me know if you hear anything else back tangibly.
Yes, I will.
All right. Take care.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.
You too.
This is the best of VOCM Open Line.
Let's go to line number 1. And Judy, you're on the air.
Oh, hi. I just wanted to know a little bit more about the eclipse and what time.
Yeah, roughly, for here in the St. John Metro and Newfoundland, for most of Newfoundland, around 3:30 seems to be the optimal time that we're instructed that. And again, we've been just kind of warned ahead of time. This won't be anything like the full-on eclipse that we saw recently, or didn't see, or viewed, I should say. But the best viewing time is estimated to be around 3:30 this afternoon around here. And of course, this is just, the moon getting in the way, passing between the sun and the earth, and blocking some of the sun for us. And as I said earlier, that's all we need, something else blocking the sun from us. Get on. So we'll hold the moon accountable for that. But yeah, around 3:30 our time. And of course, different places in the world, Judy, will have the full on. And that would be mostly Spain, I think Iceland, Greenland. And here in Canada, I guess as north as you get, up alert in Iqaluit.
Oh, okay. So what time does it start then here in Newfoundland?
Well, the actual process probably around 2 in the afternoon, roughly. Around 12:30 Eastern time. That's when it's sort of, you'll first start seeing parts of the sun become obscured, and eventually it'll look like a little bite's been taken out of it. But that all depends. Judy, where are you living?
Oh, I'm living in St. John's.
Okay. Well, we're looking at cloud. It's still pretty cloudy, although I see a sunny break out there now. We'll be pretty lucky if we get anything substantial out of it here in the province, to be perfectly honest. It's not, it's only a partial one for us. And depending on where you are, it can last up to, around 3:30. The best you'll get is probably a few minutes on either side of 3:30 to see the best view of it. If, again, there's no cloud and no rain and fog and drizzle and everything else that we get, that, the stars really have to align, pun intended.
Yeah, but you got to have special glasses, right?
Yeah, to be safe. I mean, and this would normally be for a more, if you will, significant solar eclipse. But there are these little, gadgets people can make. I mean, there are glasses you can actually buy. We remember the run on special solar eclipse glasses the last time, a couple of years ago. And then, you can take, some people talk about the old cardboard empty tissue paper roll, the little brown cardboard, and put some tinfoil on the end, poke a hole in it, and use that as sort of, a gradual viewing telescope, if you will. Very rudimentary, I might add. But, yeah, you can use that as well to do it, just to be safe. But I think, given, again, what we've been hearing about the lack of view that we will get of it here and the lack of intensity, probably not as dangerous as it would be to look full on at it and, say, if you're in Spain today. But you can, never take too many precautions, and, you don't want to harm your eyesight. A lot of people will discard that and kind of blink and look at it and hold one eye closed a little bit or whatever. But I'm not sure how, damaging it really would be. I'm no ophthalmologist, but I'll take a look.
Will you?
If I had a license.
Oh, okay.
I mean, take a look at the eclipse, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
This is the best of VOCM Open Line.
Line number 2, and caller, you're on the air.
Hello, Brian.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi.
Hi. I have 3 things that's bothering me, so I thought I would bring it to you for people to have an opinion on.
This is the place.
I never called before, but I feel really moved to call today. I have 3 items. The first one is our regatta, our St. John's regatta. I was very upset when the Premier offered a prize for the rowers in the regatta. This is a local sport and should never be made into making money. I think that's very wrong. So I want to put that out there. You look at the FIFA games, for instance, what happened there, And this is just the beginning if we let this continue. My second point is Leela Evans. I have a great deal of respect for that woman. She's wonderful. But she's rolled out a committee looking at domestic violence, a committee of 12 women, and there are no men on the committee. And this is a man's problem, too. And I tried to get her office, but I could not, so I just want to put that out there, that this is very important. And also for the committee to look at leg monitors on people who abuse women quickly. And the last thing is fishing. Newfoundlanders going on the water fishing. It's very common. I'd like to say, first I wonder why, when they give out some information on being safe, why life jackets are not required on your body when you get into a boat by law. And that's not so far. It's just you have that in the boat, I think, and that's it. So these are the 3 things that I had on my mind, and I wanted to share with you.
No, and I'm glad you did. Just the first one, let's pick them off, I suppose. The first one is regarding the prize awards that were announced by the Premier on Regatta Day and the provincial government. Just tell me again what your concern is again. Just flesh that out a little bit.
I don't want to spend too much time. It's the prize money I'm concerned about. Sure. Once you do that with a sport, okay, you've tainted it into money making. So that's my opinion. You of course you got an opinion, but I just don't want to spend too long on the phone right now. But
Yeah, no, that's understandable. And as far as the committee, and I think, I'm not sure which one we're talking about. Is this
It's the Committee for Violence Against Women.
Right.
Leila Heaven struck a committee, a 12-woman committee. And I said, there are no men there. Men are most of the problem. They need to be on a committee to help out, too.
Oh, this is the Gender-Based Violence Committee, I believe, is it? Or the task force?
Yeah, that's the one. Sorry about that.
No, that's okay. Yeah, Mary Walsh, Stacey Hoff, Elder Odell Pike, and Georgina McGraw, and Lisa Benton Lake. Yeah. I can appreciate where you're coming from there. To have a male perspective, at least to be represented. I can see that. The question I don't think had been asked before, so I leave that to the powers that be to expand as to whether or not that should have been included, whether or not there should have been male representation. We can always use both sides of every facet when it comes to especially gender-based violence, and those who most often, no question, statistics show, perpetrate the said violence, and that is men. More so than women, of course. But of course, women.
Well said, Brian.
But of course, and that's not to take away from the experience of those who are on it. I mean, people with life experience, people with advocacy experience, people with the Reconciliation Council, the Indigenous Women's Reconciliation Council, the Action Network on the Status of Women, and End Sexual Violence NL. All those groups have to be represented. But surely, I don't know if there are no men involved with it. I mean, these were the 6 non-government members that were included. And I don't know, I can't say for sure. I know what you're saying. The information that was initially released did speak just to those 4 or to the 5 females who were on that, included 6 non-government members. But I would believe that we need people from all aspects of society and life on any of these, because it doesn't limit itself just to one gender. We know that, even though it may be top-heavy for men.
And even for young people, like have a voice, young teenagers, they need a voice at the table, Brian?
Absolutely.
Right?
Choices for Youth would, I'm sure, have a part to play in this, whether or not, just because they're not listed in the, say, the initial release of this, which came out, I think, late May now. The gender, when it was declared an epidemic, of course, gender-based violence. Which, of course, that was also long overdue, because it is rampant, and what we hear in the news and what we see in the courts is guaranteed just a percentage, just a fraction of what's actually going on out there. We know it firsthand.
I'd like to say that I don't believe in partisan politics, but I believe in policies for people that we can live by.
Sure.
To make sure you understand that, right?
Sure.
Yeah,
and the ankle bracelets, again, ongoing concern there. That's come down in my time in court. For a while, it had to do with connectivity, having an actual a signal or a Wi-Fi or a connection in more rural parts of the province, when you release somebody on remand or after they've done their time, because we know that it's, people who perpetrate gender-based violence, that's not something that leaves their psyche. But you see, maybe they can, in remote areas, maybe they cannot do it. But in the St. John's, this surrounding area where a lot of crime is committed, they have the capacity to do that here. Yeah, they need the money and they need the actual equipment, and I know it's on the Justice Minister's radar. More ankle bracelets and more than enough advocacy to go right down that road, as you know. Because look, what security do you have? These victims of gender-based violence are in a tough spot. They know it can happen, and that it may happen, and that it likely will happen. A lot of times, nothing can be done until it does happen, and that's the worst-case scenario. And then when it does, what restrictions do you have? Strict conditions laid down by a judge. We know they're breached all the time, and if someone wants to do harm, they're going to find a way.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, caller. Thanks very much. I appreciate the call.
There's a last one about wearing a flotation vest on a person when they go out into a boat. That's not law in Newfoundland. You have one on a boat with you, but you're not by law to wear it. And I think that should be looked at too.
Absolutely.
That's my last point.
Yep, Merv Wiseman and others, of course, with Food Fishery have raised that as well. It's fine to have one tossed in the boat, but if it's not around you. Yeah.
Thank you, Brian, so much for listening to me.
No, thanks for the call, and thanks for pointing all these serious issues out. They're on the top of other minds too. So thank you again very much. Take care.
You're welcome. Goodbye.
This is the best of VOCM Open Line.
And welcome back to the show. Yes, I'll get to that. Send me your illegal dumping pics. That's all I'm going to say. I'm getting lots of them, and there's one there, bare need. I'll get to it in short order and maybe even a call about it. But the illegal dumping knows no bounds. I just can't wrap my head around that one. Let's go to line number 1. Chris, you're on the air. Good morning, Chris.
Good morning. How are you doing today?
Pretty good, thank you. How are you?
Not too bad. I was just wondering why they didn't host the regatta on TV this year, because other years MTV would do, and then Rogers took over.
Yeah.
So I'm just wondering, do you have any idea why that didn't happen this year?
All I can tell you is it sort of happened last minute. It was late breaking news, if you will, just the week before. I remember a week before the regatta, I started seeing some talk about it on social media. So there really wasn't much anything official until, say, the week before, say the Tuesday or the Wednesday before the regatta, when the committee came out. The president of the committee, of course, Keith White, came out and announced that the full day of racing had shifted, or was going to shift, from digital to a digital live stream, basically on their YouTube channel, because Rogers had said that they would not be providing stroke-by-stroke coverage on television with the panel as we've seen in the years before. And the reason given was primarily, from what I understand, staffing. The suggestion was that they just didn't have, they lacked the staff to carry out the traditional all-day race coverage. And then a lot of these people are volunteers as well. I mean, most of them in past years. You know, they're local community people who have knowledge of the regatta, and you put them on the little panel there and they do it. So there's some of that, but of course they have to have Rogers staff in order to be able to run it, the technical side of it and all that sort of thing. That was the reason given. I guess. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Well, one of my friends called me from Ontario, and he was thinking that the regatta was cancelled because he used to watch it on TV all the time. And, of course, his family came from Bell Island, and there's quite a lot of people, I think, probably in Canada would like to see it. You know, it's kind of disappointing that it happens. But I guess there's not much we can do about it, but, there wasn't much talk about it,
There was certainly...
One more thing, Brian,
go ahead.
I want to talk to you about. There's a couple of streets around the St. John's area and Mount Pearl, especially Park Avenue in there. I'm just wondering, have anybody driven down Park Avenue in the last few months? Because it's just like driving over a beach when you get down to the lower part of it. And it's shameful that nothing has been done to it. And we had money to build a new highway right across there, but nothing to repair, which is kind of disappointing as well. And also, now that I got you on, I remember talking to Paddy Daly about the interchange bridge coming in there for the Pitts Memorial. They never paved over these concrete barriers. And if anybody wants to drive out there now, you can see where that new work is starting to deteriorate. And that's awful, because wasting money time and time again on something because it was only about, I would say, 7 or 10 years ago that bridge was all torn up and done. And they did it again in the last 2 or 3 years. And they're refusing to pave over these concrete dividers. And they need to be done. I called the VOCM about it, and I spoke to someone in there about it, and I spoke to someone in TV about it to see would they bring it up. And nobody brings it up. Well, here it is. I think it needs to be addressed. And there's another one. Have you drove out to the Kilbride interchange bridge out there? Well, that one is wicked.
When you come down off...
Years.
You mean when you come down off that steep hill off Pitts, or...
as you go past, say, to go past out to Mount Pearl.
Oh, I know what you mean.
There.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
Man, that is brutal. One of the taxi drivers actually had a car accident about 15 years ago. And to my recollection, there was nothing done with that bridge in 15 or 20 years. So, things needs to be addressed. And some of these needs to be addressed as soon as possible. Anyway, Brian, that's my rant for today. So anyway, I'll let someone else come on.
Well, Chris,
you have a good day.
I was going to say, Chris, on Park Avenue, you said it's like driving over a beach. It's not that smooth. I can tell you now. It's brutal.
No, it's not that smooth. That's
Man,
right.
I've been on smoother crossings in the fall on Marine Atlantic. It's a lot of this, and I'm glad you raised it because I had it on my list. A few times I get a call like this, and especially when you're making a turn, like if you're on the highway, if you're talking about pits, when you go over the overpass that crosses over the Kilbride Road or Old Bay Bulls Road, and you're on a turn and you hit those divots or the connections for the bridge. And I'm no road engineer or anything like that, highways engineer, but if you take them at any speed as you're turning, you're destroying your suspension or your steering column as well. But the one by pits, that's a serious one for me too. It drives me nuts. All the work they do on that.
Before I go, a friend of mine named Gary, I won't say who he is, but he hooked one out there by the Root Avenue, I think, interchanged one out there. And he went over the bridge and the car exploded and he ended up in hospital. And he was lucky there was people there to haul him out of it. This happened probably about 8 or 10 years ago. And there was another guy went over it, and the car exploded, and he wasn't so fortunate to get out of it.
When you say exploded, you mean just...
like when you go to these bridges, there's concrete dividers.
Yep.
And then if they're not paved over, what happens is there's a pothole that's being created between the divider. So then you go into the pothole and hit that divider, and the car flipped. Yep. Now, somebody else will call in about this, I'm sure, because I'm sure somebody about 8 or 10 years ago hauled this man out of the taxi, and he ended up in hospital.
I recall.
There's
I remember.
So much goes underneath the radar, Brian, that a lot of people don't know.
Chris, you're
but
absolutely...
I'm trying to get the government to pave over these dividers to save the cost of. Okay.
It's a problem that we have, and it's very frustrating for media too, because if we could have better explanations as to how these accidents occur, especially the ones that could provide really good lessons for us. When you see a tangible example of what caused this accident, people see a car that had flipped somehow, went off the road on pits, and ended up under the bridge. Now there's 1,000 different ways you can interpret what happened there, and we'll get a news report in the moment, and it'll not a news report, but a release from the police. And they'll talk about the accident and everything. But the aftermath, we're sorely lacking. And it's been a thing of mine as a reporter all my life, just trying to get, good explanations of what happens in these accidents so people can tangibly see this is what can happen, this is what did happen. And you'd be surprised, you'd be shocked at some of the things. And I've said this before, whether it's a wasp that flew in the window, whether it's...
Yeah, that's right. That happened one time down in Outer Cove, young girl got killed.
Yeah, or whether it's...
it was only about 2 weeks or so that I called you about people running red lights and not paying attention when they're driving an automobile. And that poor child got ran down only about 2 weeks after I went on, and I asked the government to show something on either the internet or the television, like accidents happen because of unattentiveness, okay? Mm-hmm. And did they do it? No. It's still not done. But I do remember writing my driver's test for the taxi. And what I did learn at the time was that pedestrians got the right of way at every single moment they're on the road, okay? Mm-hmm. That's one thing. And I'm very cautious about driving when there's pedestrians around. I like to pump her down the scatter time, when there's no one around. But like I said, I'm very cautious about that. And also about giving people breaks, But anyway, I guess the message is getting out there now, Brian.
It is.
The pedestrian has the right of way at every given time.
Yeah, and Mike Murray, Crown Prosecutor, enlightened me. I mean, I know many, and I spoke to some people yesterday who just assumed that it's jaywalking if you don't cross on a crosswalk, which is not the case. It was an assumption. You know what happens when we assume things.
Yeah, it was spread around at all times.
Yep.
But, to me, the pedestrian always had the right of way when I was behind the wheel of that taxi.
Yep. And Chris, last thing on
behind the wheel of my car,
last thing
or
on
whatever I was driving.
Just last thing on the first thing you mentioned, Park Avenue. One of the big problems is the laterals. So when construction companies are building subdivisions or houses or whatever, and you got to put in the lateral, and which is exactly what it is. It's laterally across the road, and they just patch it over. Those patches aren't always the best asphalt that they have, and there's not always the best workmanship goes into them. It's an afterthought. It's what it feels like, and that's the patchwork quilt that I'll call Park Avenue. It used to be like Empire, and then they paved that, but that's the ultimate patchwork quilt there, and you're right, it is a rough ride, but it does.
It's the worst in the St. John's region. That's what I can find. It's the worst road right now in around the St. John's and Mount Pearl region is that street.
I will say this.
And listen now, one quick thing now that I have you.
Yep.
You always spoke about somebody that should be molded. Well, there's this young girl, her name is Jessie Lewis, and I want you to read up on her.
Okay.
And if you want some information about her, you can call me privately, and I'll give it to you, okay?
Sure. Absolutely.
But remember that name, Jessie Lewis.
You mean Jessie, who's before the courts on God knows?
Oh, my God. This was a young girl back 100 years ago.
Okay, it's not the current Jessie Lewis. Okay.
No.
This is a female. Okay, so there's a Jessie Lewis on my mind because one of the chronic
yeah, I know, because you were in the court. I should have explained that to you, but sorry about that.
That's
but
all
anyway,
right.
You check that out now.
I will.
And if you were interested in promoting that woman, I'll give you some information on her.
Will do. Absolutely. Chris, thanks for the call.
All of us.
All right, man. You too. Thanks. Oh. That'll just about do it for this Wednesday edition. Captain Sarah Strickland, thank you for arriving on time and ready for departure. Thanks, everyone, for the calls and emails. And thanks to Chris there, because we can't talk enough about traffic and what happens there and the ills of society. So we'll continue this conversation tomorrow on the Thursday edition. Thanks, everyone. Drive safely. Arrive alive. VOCM cares.